Just had to begin. We'll see. There we are. And we are live. Yes, yes, yes. We are live, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of
Bamboozled.
Tell you about how you've been bamboozled by the government, bamboozled by the media, bamboozled in so many ways in America, and it's time to bring it to an end. And we're going to bring to light the things we've been bamboozled about. And we are ready for a great show tonight. And it's going to be a quick one because we want to get you to the debates. We know you want to watch those. So Ryan, take care of some housekeeping for us.
I'd love to, Jason. I'm so excited that everybody's joining us again this week. Thank you for tuning in again. We want to start off by sharing that still social media platforms have taken Jason and I out of the equation. However, we still do have our YouTube channel. And if those of you that are still on Facebook or other social medias out there, if you can share this with everybody in your network so that we can reach a larger audience. We've had so much great response from everybody that tunes into Bamboozled to help us reach more people. We appreciate that very much. And Jason, we have some super exciting news for what's going on this weekend. I'll tell you what, I am so humbled by the amount of response that we have got for the nationwide Freedom March. It is absolutely incredible to see where these events have taken us. And I want to share this right here with everybody. Look at that. That's that little map right there. That's all the locations across the country where we are going to be having a location for the nationwide Freedom March. We have 51 cities across 26 states, all having events at the same time on Saturday, October 24th. How amazing is that? And there's been some really great press that has rolled out on that recently. Jason, I'm fired up about this. It's going to be amazing. How are you feeling?
Ryan, it's one of the things that I'm truly both humbled and totally can't believe how big this has gotten. I mean, we just heard from Simi Valley, California, huge event. I know Raleigh, North Carolina's got a huge lineup of talent. We've got people in Syracuse, big radio shows that have jumped on and gotten to be a part of this. The Upper Peninsula of Michigan has a big event going. We've got a huge event in Allendale. We've got all the major media outlets covering this thing, and we're going to get some attention. Speaking of covering this thing, Ryan just mentioned it a minute ago. I know some of you are still jumping on. Make sure you help us out. Share this to your social media pages. Share this link on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever you can, because Facebook has censored us pretty badly. And so we just want to make sure that we get the word out, get the message out, and let people know how they've been bamboozled by the government and by the media for the last several decades. Ryan, speaking of bamboozled, what are we talking about tonight?
We're going to talk about a couple different topics, but we're going to start off by talking a little bit about how specifically in Michigan, I know we have an audience that watches from all over the country and all over the world, really. So we're just going to share with you a little bit about what's going on here in Michigan, and I'm sure it relates in other states as well. But I think so much national attention has been on Gretchen Whitmer, Jason. You know, there's been a lot of things that she has done that has captured the attention of so many people here in Michigan, and they're really upset, right? Michiganders are very upset how this was handled. And around the nation, there's been a lot of talk as well. But one thing that we're not really looking at is what has the response been from the Michigan legislature that is both House and Senate Republican majority. And I think there's been some things that have been happening in the legislature that has really bamboozled people across this state. And so, yeah, if you want to kind of jump into a couple of the things that we mentioned there, we can kind of dive into all of it and cover a little bit of the bamboozlement.
Well, yeah, right here, this guy's name, if you don't know him, his name is Mike Shirkey. Mike Shirkey is the Michigan Senate Majority Leader here in our Michigan Senate here in Lansing. And he is the Senate Majority Leader here, and he is one of the big ones that we want to talk about. Him and his buddy Lee Chatfield and some others really bamboozling the public. The title of the show is Bamboozle is their middle name. These are the guys we're talking about. This guy, again, Mike Shirkey, make sure you drop him a line and let him know you're watching. But the reality is some of the things that have been happening in the legislature. First of all, in Michigan, I want to show you guys something, because in Michigan, we have an ability to do something that should have been done. A lot of you might know we had a Supreme Court decision here, and I'll show it to you, in Michigan not too long ago, within the last couple of weeks. That's weird. Okay, within the last couple of weeks, we've had a Supreme Court decision, and I'll read it to you, and I've got it up here on the screen. It says, in Michigan, a 1945 law repeatedly used by Governor Gretchen Whitmer to respond to the coronavirus pandemic was declared unconstitutional Friday, that was 2 weeks ago Friday, by Michigan Supreme Court. Striking decision put months of restrictions at risk. So we've had a Supreme Court decision here in Michigan that says that the 1945 Act, pay attention to this because it's important, the 1945 Act was declared unconstitutional. Ryan, why is it so important that people pay attention to that and know that it was declared unconstitutional?
First of all, it puts into perspective everything that's happening with the repeal of the 1945 law and the bamboozlement that has happened to people all over Michigan this summer with the Unlock Michigan, right? Unlock Michigan, let's remove the 1945 law, has really been just an exercise in, what do we want to call it? An exercise in busy work, right? To make the people of Michigan think that the legislature was doing something productive. And I know Stand Up Michigan was involved in that pretty heavily as well. And so we see now that the 1945 law has been ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. They already beat that Unlock Michigan group to the punch. So what they're doing is kind of null and void now, but we see that Gretchen Whitmer has just gone around the 1945 law and is using the health department and OSHA to enforce the exact same rules. So even if that Unlock Michigan would have got all their signatures and beat the Supreme Court to the punch, if you will, in order to get the 1945 law removed, Whitmer would have just turned around and done the thing that she has done now. So, yeah, interesting, right? Very much bamboozlement of the people of Michigan throughout the entire summer with that Unlock Michigan.
So the reason I pulled Mike Shirkey, Senate Majority Leader, picture back up. I got some echo coming from there. Do you have your volume up on your phone or something?
I don't have my phone on.
Weird. I know. Okay. Anyways, the reason I pulled that picture up. How am I sounding?
You're
going in and out.
Okay. So basically, Nikki, we got to unmute you when you're talking. Your set. Okay, so the reason I keep pulling him back up, right? Mike Shirkey, Senate Majority Leader, called us, Ryan. Do you remember that phone call?
Yeah, he was sharing with us the idea of the Unlock Michigan, of their plan to get the 1945 law removed, and was kind of like the spearheading the whole thing, the idea. So we knew about it way back then, and we also knew that at that time the 1945 law was already unconstitutional by the Michigan Constitution, right? Catherine Henry has spoke about that many, many times to bring the Michigan Constitution, but it also goes against the United States Constitution. So, kind of our reply was, why don't we just get this ruled as unconstitutional? And it was obviously, right, the way that we look at it with the Supreme Court. But I guess we saw that coming long before, the ruling was made from the Supreme Court.
The reason we're telling you all of this, right? Mike Shirkey calls us. He says, "Hey guys, we got this thing going on. We're going to repeal the 1945 Act," and he's telling us, "Man, we need to get signatures. We need to get petitions." And immediately, what he did was, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a Facebook group called Michiganders Against Excessive Quarantine, and Garrett Saldano was in the right place at the right time, made a smart move, and created a group that got him like 300,000 liked followers in the first week or something, because it was perfect timing, right? Well, Shirkey saw that as an opportunity. He called us, and what he wanted was for us to hook up with Garrett. Well, what he didn't know was Ryan and I had already tried to work with Garrett. Garrett originally told us, yeah, I'll help any way I can. But when we asked for help or tried to share the original American Patriot rally to his group, he would delete it and said that he publicly denounced our rally because he said that we were violent or something. And when I asked him about it, he said that, well, I have to say those things because I've got things going on that we can't have shut down. What he was talking about was the same phone call we got from Shirkey. Shirkey wanted us to do the same thing he was doing and start getting behind this Unlock Michigan thing. Well, Unlock Michigan's sole purpose, and I'll show it to you, their sole purpose is to basically repeal the 1945 Act. The problem is the 1945 Act is already struck down by the Supreme Court now, but we knew it was going to be at the time. And anybody who had read the bill, which we actually read it to you on the show at the time, we read that bill to you at the show and said, hey, this doesn't meet constitutional muster in the US or in Michigan. So now we're like, well, why are we going to spend our time repealing a law that is unconstitutional and therefore notwithstanding according to Article 6, Section 2 of the Constitution? And so we said, well, why would we do that? And we couldn't figure it out at the time. But Ryan, you kind of just hit it on the head. Busy work.
Wow.
If the legislature has a bunch of people running around getting signatures and doing all of this work to get this act repealed, then they don't have to actually do any big, scary, big boy work that like we do here at the American Patriot Council, where they would go and say what they should have been doing is taking a federal case, or they should have been at least having press conferences and saying, this is ridiculous, take off your mask, this is unconstitutional, you don't need, but they were too scared to do that. So what they did was try to pander to all kinds of different groups and get everybody behind this kind of like fool's errand, which is Unlock Michigan.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's interesting to kind of see how it all played out right now that we're here. So really, what's the next step for that, right? They don't really have one that I know of. And so we'll see how that plays out. But however, that brings us into our next step, right? Now that we've seen Gretchen Whitmer has, by the Supreme Court, been verified to have broken her oath of office, right? That's an impeachable offense. Now, I know that there's been some recall action out there, hey, recall Whitmer. And Jason, I think you can explain the difference here in a second between recall and impeach. But it's time that we put a little pressure here on the legislature, because they have the opportunity right now to impeach Whitmer for something that has already been proven unconstitutional and a violation of her oath of office. So why to this day we have not seen articles of impeachment from the Michigan House, I don't know, right? I've asked many of them. I have texted Lee Chatfield, I have texted my rep and said, hey, let's draft articles of impeachment. Let's go ahead and put this together. And at that point, what that would look like is that we bring the evidence that the Supreme Court ruled, hey, look, she, broke her oath of office. This is unconstitutional. What she did was unconstitutional. And then they vote on that, and then it goes to the Senate, and they vote on it as well. So, Jason, if you want to take a little bit there and kind of talk about the difference of those two things, we can just cover a couple pieces on that and maybe some action steps after that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. We've heard a lot about a recall Gretchen Whitmer initiative or a recall thing. They want to recall Gretchen Whitmer. So what a recall is, okay? First, let's talk about what that is. A recall is an election, all of its own. So what needs to happen is you've got to get a certain amount of signatures, and then once you have those signatures, they get checked and made sure that they're validated signatures, and then you have another vote where the voters go to the ballot and vote whether or not to recall a public official. That's what a recall is. An impeachment, and I'm paraphrasing this little paragraph I brought up for you guys so you can see it, but an impeachment is a process wherein official is charged with malfeasance, which would be like gross dereliction of duty, breaking the Constitution, breaking the law, committing a crime or a misdemeanor or a felony. Those are what you would impeach for. Okay, so now because we asked that question, I pulled up the Michigan Constitution, Article 11, Section 7. Article 11, Section 7 of the Michigan Constitution says the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeaching civil officers for corrupt conduct in office for crimes or misdemeanors, but a majority of members elected thereto and serving therein shall be necessary to direct an impeachment. So what we need, and why this hasn't happened is beyond all of us, okay? Why this hasn't happened is beyond all of us. If the day that court ruled, and a lot of us thought before that we could have got the impeachment, but now that the Supreme Court flat out said she was breaking the Constitution for nearly 2 months or 3 months, whatever it was, that why on earth that very moment the gavel banged was not someone from the Republican majority in the House of Representatives in Michigan standing on the floor with articles of impeachment already drawn up and asking for a vote. Why was that not happening? Because I'll continue here. It says, when an impeachment is directed, the House Representatives shall elect 3 of its members to prosecute the impeachment. That's pretty standard. Every impeachment shall be tried by the Senate immediately after the final adjournment of the legislature. So once the House says, yes, we're moving forward with the impeachment, a trial begins immediately. Now, the senators shall take an oath or affirmation, truly and impartially, to try and determine the impeachment according to, and this is important, according to the evidence. That's important. And then right after that, it says this on purpose, according to the evidence, when the governor or lieutenant governor is tried, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court shall preside. Now, Ryan, Nikki, do you guys want to take what preside means?
Preside is to make decisions for, to have judgment over.
Right, it's to act as the judge, right? So when they preside, what that would mean is the Supreme Court justice does not provide evidence. That's not his job or her job. Their job is not to bring evidence or to testify, and it's not to prosecute the case. The prosecutors will be from the House, the 3 that were appointed, but the judge, their job is to make sure that it's being decided upon the evidence. And that judge, the Supreme Court justice, is going to say to the Senate, now, guys, if evidence it's not a popularity contest. I don't care what party you're from. I don't care what reason you have to like Gretchen Whitmer. If you look at these facts, and you say that the law was broken, then we need to find for the impeachment and the removal from office. And basically the rest just goes on to say no one should be convicted without 2/3 of the senators elected serving. So that is why I think maybe some of them aren't bringing it. They think, well, we don't have 2/3 Republicans. It doesn't matter. The entire Supreme Court. Let me ask you what was interesting about being locked away and everybody had to do their trials and stuff or their court hearings by Zoom. What also happened when they had to be done by Zoom?
Great
public hearings. You have to have public hearings. So what did they do with all those Zoom hearings?
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
They live streamed them.
Oh, sure.
Live. There's video of her being ruled against by the Supreme Court. There's video of what she did. So you don't need to provide evidence, guys. All you got to do is bring in a computer like the one we're on right now, pull up a screen share like I got, and say, here's the evidence. She did it. Vote. Okay. Bye, Gretchen Whitmer. Now step in Gilchrist, and we're going to impeach you next.
Yep.
And why is our legislature? Who are they representing in Lansing? That's my question. Like, I am your constituent. I have voted for you. I have voted for you time in and time out for so long, and yet when we need something, you're there pandering to a governor. Lee Chatfield. Yep. Mike
beating my head against the wall. Yeah, exactly. There's a dent in the wall for me beating my head against it going, I know enough about the law to know that she was busted months ago, and she's just, still sitting here talking to news reporters and getting her nails done and fixing her $1 million
fence.
Yeah, she got a fence, building a wall. Build the wall.
Build the wall.
The point of this is the fact that we have Republicans right now in the House and the Senate that say, they're for the Constitution, that they're for the people, and we've seen them be disrespected by this governor. On April 30th. They voted no, we're not going to extend the state of emergency. And we watched the governor at that point push them to the side and say, you matter zero.
Exactly.
And continue down this path. That was the opportunity starting May 1st. That was their opportunity. Whoa, and start speaking out publicly about this. And they chose not to. They chose not to speak out about it. They chose to do this unlock Michigan. We're going to run around and get signatures so that we can unlock Michigan and take away this 1940 law. Okay, moving forward now, they continue to be disrespected. Gretchen Whitmer continues to disrespect the Supreme Court when they made their decision. So now she's told by the Supreme Court, hey, look, what you did is unconstitutional. You violated your oath of office. You're not allowed to, you can't do any of that stuff anymore. You got to work with the legislature. The legislature gets all excited. Oh, we get to work with the governor now. And I was bamboozled by that. What do you mean you get to work with the governor now? Excuse me? Exactly. You might have disrespect the just received from her, and now you're saying you get to work with her? No, now you get to put a kibosh to all this nonsense is what it is. That's what they should have been doing, but instead they wanted to work with her, and then she disrespects them again and goes to the health department in OSHA and puts out all of her executive orders basically in a different format with these people in these governmental agencies, right? So now the Supreme Court gets disrespected, the legislature gets disrespected, right? And Gretchen Whitmer's off doing her own thing. We have everything that we need for an impeachment. Everything that we need. The decision's already been made by the Supreme Court. You don't need any evidence, like Jason said. You already have it. All you need to do is show up with the impeachment articles. Here's the evidence. It's just one piece of, it's just one thing.
Listen,
it's crazy.
Take your vote. Right? We want the legislature to act. Impeach Whitmer now. We have everything that we need. They need to take action and show that they represent the people, and that they don't work for the governor, that they work for the people. The governor has already shown that she does not work for the people.
And as soon as she was struck down, the Michigan Supreme Court struck her down. What happened next? Oh, she got they were trying to kidnap her. Okay.
Well, this is the thing, okay? So this is the reason we did the show tonight. We were going to just postpone the show because the debates are on and everybody wants to watch them. We've got about 6 minutes and we're going to let you get to that. We are going to start putting, you know what we do here at American Patriot Council. We love public pressure, right? And we're thinking, how can we create more public pressure for an arrest? Because, and this has been a conundrum for me, because I want, and Ryan wants, and Nikki wants, and all of our members want criminals held accountable for their crimes. But here's how we do that. We're going to create public pressure for an impeachment, because once Gretchen Whitmer is impeached, it'll be much easier to get the DOJ and the different law enforcement agencies to take action and make the arrests they need to make, right? So what we're going to do Saturday, we are going to do the nationwide Freedom March. At that march, on the live stream, we'll be live from all over the country. I'm going to bring people from North Carolina, California, Alabama, all over the country onto a live stream. If you can't be there, make sure you're there watching and sharing the video. But here's what we're going to announce on Saturday: the next rally. The next rally is going to be Impeach Them Rally. And we're going to find a location. Maybe it'll be right in front of somebody's house. I don't know, but we're going to find a location that'll make an impact, and we're going to demand that the legislature impeach these people. We're the constituents. We're the power in this country. We're going to make demands, and they're going to be heard. And American Patriot Council is not going to stand by while they continue, like Diane here says, that we have our own swamp of problems here in Michigan. Michigan isn't alone, guys. Those of you who are watching here in Michigan, yes, you know what tyranny feels like. So does New York. We talked to one of our leaders in Syracuse. It's just like this there. You go out to Portland, and it's almost impossible to walk the streets if you're not Antifa or willing to burn things down. It's same thing in Seattle. California, huge event happening out in California. Can't bring it to you live, but can't wait to bring it to you live. We got 2 events there. Simi Valley is looking like it's going to be huge. We've got one in the middle of nowhere in Kentucky that looks like we're going to have 5,000-6,000 people showing up. And like America is coming together, and this isn't happening all around the country because they're mad about Michigan, guys. This is happening all around the country because this is happening all around the country.
That's right.
You know, so if we have these problems with our legislature here, I can promise you, you probably have your problems with your legislature wherever you are. What we have to do as American citizens is get the evidence together, create the pressure, and bring redress of grievances with our government. It's our right according to the Constitution, but more than a right, rights are made to be exercised. Right? We can't just have the rights and never exercise them. Remember, we talked 2 weeks ago. We talked about how if you get pulled over, ask for a warrant if they want to search your car, even if you don't have anything in the car. Because if you don't exercise, the muscles go lame. And when it comes time to exert your rights, you won't know how to do it. This is what we're going to do. We're going to flex our public muscle. We're going to do everything legal and lawful, but we are going to flex our public muscle, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to show up somewhere real soon. We're going to announce the place and date Saturday at the Nationwide Freedom March, where we're going to go, and we're going to demand this stuff. That's what we need to do. That's what we got.
That's right. And so on Bamboozled, we want to empower you as always. Look up some of this stuff on your own. Do a little bit of research around the different points that we've talked about tonight. Look up the Michigan Constitution when it comes to what it takes to impeach people. Do a little bit of your own research to figure out how to connect the dots, right? We want to empower you with this information. Stay tuned for this next event coming up. Everything that we do here and that we get action results from, we want it to be legal and lawful, right? We want to stress that again. We always have, and we want to continue. And that's why we've continued to talk to the DOJ and to the FBI and to go these routes of impeachment to make sure we are doing things legally and lawfully and constitutionally for everyone. Everyone deserves that, but it is really up to us, the people, in order to make sure that this stuff is followed through with, and that we can, like our mission says, to restore and sustain a constitutional government in the United States of America.
And don't be worried if you don't know the specific codes and the numbers and exactly what to call or, this amendment or anything. I don't know a lot of things, but I do know my rights. I know I'm sick and tired of seeing, people being harassed, and it's not just me. It's my children, or it's the people behind me or in front of me. And for not covering my face, because whatever medical issues I have, it's compounding it. Just like, in what did we say before? When you see someone committing criminal acts and you don't report it, you're the same thing as they are. Like, you're like being an accomplice. Like, we're helping her get away with it. We're helping the Secretary of State get away with it. We're helping the Attorney General get away with it. They get away with it every day. These people are sucking up our tax dollars. They're buying whatever it is they want. They got all types of things. They're utilizing their security systems on our dimes. This is our lives. This is our children's lives. If you don't get up now, what is there going to be left? And I'm sick of having this conversation. I'm sick of calling corporate. I'm tired of arguing about this. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of whining. I'm tired of being stressed out. I barely sleep. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I'm too cute for this. Where did my state go? Where's your country going to be at if you don't get off your butt?
So we're going to take this out. We're going to end, as we promised, with a 30-minute show. I'll leave you with this. At this point, it's time to continue and take action. Get out there. Be at the march on Saturday. Wherever you are watching from, you can find a march close enough to get to on Saturday. We've got a ton of nationwide coverage. A guy's actually flying in from Washington, D.C. This is so weird for me, and filming me at my office tomorrow to get B-roll so that he can make me look. This is good press. He can make me look like a good person and not some right-wing crazy that they only show at the rally. So he's coming all the way here and then driving 3 hours to the rally from here. And we've got a lot of that. Like, we're starting to gain the pleasure of the press. Hey, listen, we're already over. Ryan, any final thoughts as we go out?
Bamboozled, y'all. Do your
Bamboozle.
research. Be smart. Study the Constitution. Know your rights, right? We've been bamboozled, but it ain't too late, y'all. Love you guys. Thank you for being here.
Saturday.
Good night.
Much love.